Trudy Sopp threw a going away party for Gary Winters at the end of August 2013. He has left for Reno. Despite his roots in the Midwest, apparently Gary is off to find joy in Fantasyland. I first met Gary back with a bunch of OD efforts dating clear back to the mid-80s, including the OD conference in '89. Gary and I were a lot alike in some way, like two brothers. We kind of reflected each other. We had a fight a few years ago about his girlfriend, and I don't even remember what that was about, but I do know that we got pissed off at each other. At least Gary came to my 70th birthday party, which I certainly appreciated. Gary and I share a common interest in photography, and we helped each other a lot on how to get better at it. Gary's quite an interesting guy, hard person to figure out, and certainly one of the most unusual people I've ever known. He had a bunch of friends, and Trudy did, of Gary's people, and I was pleased to be able to be there. And here's Gary's explanation on why he left for Reno.
Bring this chapter to a close in a meaningful way.
I know. Well, you guys are like the most important people in the world to me. You guys have, each and every one of you have had an impact on me in ways that I like to hold one of these.
Oh, tissue session.
Yeah, Kleenex. I wish I could say something to each of you individually, but it would take too long. Every one of you, thank you. You're very, very important to me. You guys have, you've said a lot of, you've said a lot of wonderful things about me, and I appreciate it, but I couldn't have done any of that shit without you guys. I mean, I learned it from you and lived it with you, and so as good as it feels to hear all that stuff, it's not like I'm doing it on my own. I didn't do any of that on my own. Everybody here has taught me something.
Did we bring out the best in you?
You did.
He's like, did anybody see the MTV Awards? He's like Justin Timberlake with NSYNC.
We brought out the best in you.
We're in sync.
Alright, if he was like Justin Timberlake, I would be sitting on his lap. I'm sorry, I didn't throw that out there.
We were working with good material.
Let me rephrase that. Most of you. I won't name any names. Anyway, a lot of you have wondered, probably quite rightly, why in hell would I be leaving San Diego and moving to Reno? And I have an answer for you, and it's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So the actual story, some of you have already heard. Now, I won't bore all of you, but I went up there for vacation a couple months ago, and the people who invited me up said they warned me that I might enjoy it so much that I'd want to move there, and I laughed because I live in San Diego. You don't leave San Diego. But I did fall in love with the area, and I know some people who live there, and I came to realize that my time here is done. All right.
Yeah.
I hate when I snort. That's the worst part.
I love it.
Immersive laughing and
Tonight's heard all about.
What'd you say?
Immersive laughing and crying.
Tonight's heard all about.
Yeah.
And when I came to realize that everything I didn't even know I was setting out to do, I had done. And I was now going in circles. And they weren't bad circles, there wasn't anything wrong with it, but they were circles, and I wasn't growing. I haven't grown in a while. And I've done everything I could think of that I want to do in San Diego, and most of it I've done many times. So I decided it was time for me to have a grand adventure. I thought, if I don't do it now, I'll never do it. I'll die here. And even that isn't the worst thing that could happen. I'm not putting that down. But I wanted an adventure. And I remember when I moved to San Diego as a young man, And it was easy to move in those days. I had no fear of anything. And I wanted to try that again. I wanted to recapture that. So it could have been anywhere. It just happened to be Reno. I just happened to go there at the time when my brain was kind of, I didn't even realize it, but was kind of thinking about maybe it's time to change. And so it just happened to be Reno. It's kind of like imprinted. It was just a coincidence. It's a beautiful area, and I can't wait to get there for those kind of reasons, but it could have been anywhere. But anyway, my kids are grown. I just feel like I've done what I need to do here. And so I wanted that new adventure, and I gotta tell you that since I made the decision, I have had probably 30 minutes of second thoughts in all that time. I don't really have any. I am totally at peace with this.
Tell them about the G in the winter sleigh.
Yeah, I'll tell the little story.
Yeah.
When I went up for this vacation, the person that I went to see one day said, and she was the one that said, "You're going to like it, you might want to move." And she's my former girlfriend.
Diane.
And Diane, and we're now very best friends in a different, completely different way. But she said, you might want to live here. And one day she had to do some work, and she said, "Why don't you go on the internet and look up different houses that are for rent, and I'll drive you around and just show you the neighborhoods and see if just sit." So I did, and I picked out 4 or 5 that were really scattered around. And she finished her work, and we got in the car and went to the first house. We just chose one randomly, went to that house. I walked in, and I just loved the place right away. Sometimes that happens. The lady that lives there said, we clicked right away, and she said, "Well, what do you think?" And I said, I heard myself saying, "Yeah, I think I'm going to take it." And I hadn't made a decision to move there yet or anything, but I made that statement. So she said, "Okay, I'll take the ad now, and you can have it." She didn't know me.
Wow.
She hadn't vetted me or anything. So I left, Diane and I left the house, and I felt really weird. What have I just done? I hadn't spent any money yet. I could say no, but still. So I sort of wanted some kind of a sign, like, am I doing the right thing? So the first thing that happened was that where I live is on the foothills of Lake Tahoe in Sierra Nevada Mountains. And there's one particular hill nearby, right near my house, that the local high school has put its initial on. And so I happened to drive, and that is the letter G. Yeah, okay, that's a little weird. We then turned on Mount Rose Highway, which is the big street in my neighborhood, and it goes up to Lake Tahoe. She said, "I'll drive you up there, show you around." So we start up the hill. The first cross street is Winters Lane.
Wow.
So now I'm starting to think of this story where I don't remember the whole story, but the punchline is God says, "I sent you a boat."
I sent you a boat.
What else?
What else do you want?
What else do you want?
What did you want?
So I thought, all right, I'll try this idea on. I came home, changed my mind, thought, no, I'm not gonna, this is crazy. This is crazy. It's too spontaneous. It's crazy. So I called her. I said, take the house back, put it on the market. Thought about it some more, and then I just changed my mind again. I thought, yeah, I do want to do it. What have I got to lose? And I really did figure out that I had nothing to lose. Nothing. If I go to Reno and I hate it, I can come back, or I can go somewhere else. So I called her up and I said, "I've changed my mind. I think I do want to come back. Is the house still there?" And she said, "Well, actually it is, but you could be first on the list if you fill out a thing, send it to me." She did, and I did, and I got the house. Things have continued to fall into place like that. I was telling somebody tonight, a couple of weeks ago, I was on the internet looking at where trailheads are located in here, because that's something I want to do, start hiking and that kind of thing. And as I was looking at it, I was thinking, man, I wish I still had my mountain bike, because there was a billion places you can ride a mountain bike. But I didn't have one anymore. So I started looking to buy one on Craigslist and so forth. So the next morning, I get an unsolicited email from my new landlord, who says, "By the way, I forgot to mention, out in the garage, there's 5 or 6 mountain bikes.
No.
Use whichever one you want, or all of them, doesn't have to use, just they're
Wow.
yes, universe, I get it.
Whack, whack.
So
Yeah.
stuff like that has, and I don't even remember all of this stuff that keeps happening. So I met people and they have become friends with them. They're all kind of eagerly waiting. I'm not sure they're eagerly waiting, but they claim to be waiting for me to get up there. And anyway, there's too many coincidences or whatever they're called, to not do it. So I'm doing it. And I'm framing it as a grand adventure. And I might even have a 6th book in here. Because I think a lot of people, when they get to be my age, don't do this sort of stuff. They talk themselves out. And they shouldn't. They should do it. And so I've been keeping track of all of what I've been going through to make the change happen and so forth. And I don't know, maybe there is, maybe there isn't, but I think maybe there's a book in there about change, having a grand adventure when you're 62. Almost 62. Anyway, so all I really want to say is that I wish I could just say stuff. It would be a hell of a lot easier. I couldn't have done half of what I did, or a quarter of what I did, without the support and the love from you guys.
Do you have a spare room or at least a couch? So
I am renting a 4-bedroom freaking house. Well, some of you don't know.
He's
but
got
I've-
4 bikes.
because I want to come visit.
Those of you who don't know me as well as others probably don't realize that I've lived since my divorce, which was at the end of the last century. I pretty much lived in apartments and nothing special for all that time. And I look at this house and I call it a grown-up's house. Real grown-ups live in it. But it's a 4-bedroom house. It's completely furnished. The people who own it are in Vienna on a sabbatical this year, so that's why they're renting the house. I only get it for 10 months, which is perfect because I can then learn the area, decide whether I want to stay, and either rent something else or come back or go somewhere else.
If you decide to come back, there's going to be plenty of food. Freeze it!
But you don't get another $1 for 3
The other thing I really want to make sure you all hear, because some of you may not realize this or may wonder about it. I'm not at all, I'm not retiring, and I'm not finished with working through the Senate, or with the Senate. We have big plans or I have big plans and hopes for creating business in Northern California, and maybe even in Reno. Reno's a real small town. I don't know how much prospecting we'll get done there, but it's also Carson City, which is Nevada's state capital, and that's 30 miles away. So there's all kinds of possibilities, and they don't have anybody like me up there till I get there, so they need to look out. Yeah.
When you land, it's going to be like the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
And the
So-
goodie bags that you're getting, there's a picture of his house. With his address and his email address, so you're all going to get
Yeah.
all the other.
So I do have room for you all. You're all not at the same time, but, but from time to time, I would love any of you to come up. You're welcome to stay, and I will be keeping you all. If those of you who want to know, I'll keep you informed of how things go. But I guess I'll end by just saying I really am at peace. I'm
Good.
such a waterworks guy, but anyway, I really am at peace. I'm doing the right thing. I know I'm doing the right thing. I don't regret any of it, and I'm so grateful for you guys. And this is, you know, I didn't expect any of this, and I wouldn't have known. I just didn't expect any of this. I should have known, because Trudy doesn't let these moments go by without doing something. So I should have.
How did we get by without a choreographed dance?
I think John Guevara saved us.
It's simply a logistical problem. That's the only reason there is. I feel like I've been through all of the things that you described with you.
No, you have.
And
Trudy,
so
you
I
have.
hope you feel
Yeah,
loved
I do.
tonight.
I
Yeah.
really, really
Okay.
do.